Okay, again, you probably all heard that, but this is now being recorded, which I believe would include the chat as well. So if you don't want your name tile to show up, it does have some of your names on it. You can go in there and change your name, or leave the meeting and catch the posted recording. We may cut out this intro part as well. Okay, so I'm going to resume where I left off over on Discord before that failed, and run through some of the doxing that I was going to do for myself. And again, the intent of this is to just show who's behind the website and who I am, that I'm an actual YieldNode investor and not some kind of plant or something. I'm going to turn off my video while I share the screen just because it's on my other monitor. And that seems like it would make more sense. Okay, can everybody still see the screen up there?
We can see the screen.
Thanks much. So this is the website. As you all know, YieldNodes.legal. I just purchased this domain a few days ago and launched it after seeing a Twitter class action community here that was started by Michael Frazee. I have no previous relationship with Michael Frazee or anybody else in YieldNodes Legal. I just received the email the same as you all did about what YieldNodes had done on October 11th by freezing the deposits, and I was quite upset about that. And so that's where I will start, actually, is with my YieldNodes account. Just to show this. Of course. Sometimes the tab gets cached. I don't know if you guys run into that problem. Here we go. Okay, so here's my YieldNodes account. As I mentioned, I was a larger investor. I'll start with my, I guess my reports. So I had a total deposits of just over 260,000 euros, not in the profit, with 123,000 withdrawals. That includes if you were to deduct out the net profit. I believe I'm still 70 something in the red here. My deposits started this year in January, and you can see the release dates here. Put in a small amount at first, ramped it up just to try it out, continued depositing, went ahead and compounded, and continued on this way for quite a while. I did just begin to make some withdrawals, especially larger withdrawals. And I'll go here and show this. Here's my withdrawal page. The first one I did was just a test, just to see if the system was actually working, and it was. And in fact, I got my withdrawal. The ones that you see that are declined were not declined by YieldNodes or anything like that. This is just a canceled withdrawal. Maybe you've seen that in your own profile. I had kind of changed my mind as time went on about whether or not I wanted to leave it in there or cancel. But that's when I first got my withdrawal, was in February. Everything was fine then. Moving forward, the first withdrawal that I had a problem with was not actually this pending one here. This is currently pending and subject to the freeze, and I will not get it. This is from last month. So I submitted this on September 1st. It was supposed to be paid out October 8th. It was not paid out October 8th. And then was that a question, or was somebody just unmuted by mistake? Okay, I'll continue. So this was posted September 1st. It should have been paid out October 8th. But as you've maybe heard or read or experienced yourself, some larger withdrawals were not actually honored on the date that they were supposed to be. I wasn't super concerned about this one until later on the 11th, of course, because my previous withdrawal, this 64,000 euro here, which I submitted in August, it was also not paid out on the 8th. It ended up being, this says the 10th here. I believe this was actually the 11th in my time zone. But I had received an email that I probably, let me see if I can pull this up off screen, because I'd like to show it. While I'm pulling this up, I had received an email from YieldNodes that said 65 out of the 5,000 accounts had delayed. Let me print this to a PDF real quick. Save. 65 out of 5,000 accounts had delayed withdrawals, and that mine was one of them. I'll put this up here as well. Okay, so here's that email that says back in September, hey, we're really sorry. We're mortified about this, but 65 people out of the 5,000 withdrawals were delayed. And that included my account. And they gave me Steve's Skype and Steve's WhatsApp number. I can confirm this WhatsApp number did seem to reach Steve. It had his face and profile on it. He did reply to me. It did not sound like a tech support person by any means. I can't share my phone easily at the moment, but maybe I'll share this later. I'll take some screenshots and upload them, but it's pretty short messages, just back and forth like you would expect. Hey, what's the status? They said, give us 3 days. So I gave them the patience that they asked for. After a few days transpired and I did not have the deposits yet, or I reached back out again, a little bit concerned. And within just seconds or a couple minutes of that reply, I got a notice that my withdrawal was actually posted to Coinbase. So they'd clearly started it before I had become concerned. So that gave me some confidence that this withdrawal would probably also go through the same thing. So when October 8th rolled around, as I mentioned, I wasn't too concerned until the 9th and 10th and then the 11th. And that's when I emailed them and pointed out that I still had this withdrawal pending. And about 15 minutes after that, we got the email that everybody was very upset with about all of the withdrawals being frozen for the time being. We sort of all know what transpired after that. So I wanted to talk a little bit too about the reason for forming the group. The reason for forming the group was, to me, this was a unexpected change of terms. The website always said that if profits fell below 5% or an average of 5% for 3 consecutive months, that they would reimburse the node rental fees. I also did extensive homework before investing here. I read all the FAQs. I did read the risk disclosure several times. I reached out to them over email. I went to go understand buy rate and how that worked. I also master noded 4 or 5 tokens myself. I did SAP and Dash Diamond, ESK, the ESCA coin, Crypto Saga, and I feel like I'm forgetting one other. But I did that for quite a few months as well. And then after learning that they had other income from buy rate and from acquiring flits, and after reading their FAQ and talking to them over email, that I understood that their income was not supposed to be based on token price. It wasn't based on price going up or down or new buyers coming in, but they're actually generating profits, and that these returns come from the profits. So I felt pretty confident with that, which is why I invested quite a bit here. And especially after seeing the weekly profit posted on October 7th, the reason I felt legal action was appropriate here was clearly they didn't lose all of the profit and the capital between the 7th and the 11th. So to post a profit after now claiming, just a few days later that there's only 10% of the capital left, either this profit was posted as a false report, or the report that there's only 10% capital remaining at the moment is false. But in either case, what the website always claimed about 3 months, average of 5% or less, and then reimbursing node fees being the recourse for loss of revenue. The fact that never happened was also a change of course among many other things. The claim was also now that the failure was due to investors gambling somehow. So folks like myself trying to take out large amounts. I will point out, I tried to take out less than my capital. So I did not take out more than I put into the system, personally, at least. So I'm certainly not at fault for that. And the sudden change of description of how these profits are generated, going from they're generated from master noding itself and the fees collected from other services, which is an actual business model, to now suddenly it is based on new people buying. There weren't enough buyers in the market, therefore the token values went down. That's my personal understanding of the situation and why I formed the group YieldNodes Legal. Any questions about this part before I go on? And I'm gonna get back over to Zoom and maybe stop my share for a second. Oh, here we go, stop share. Turn on video, and I will check chat as well. Yeah, Charlie, I see that you had the same thing, 100K withdrawal, and it did not arrive. Yep, and that's also true. We'll get less than 5% this month. And that was the explanation that I had heard actually about why they're offering 5% a quarter on current deposits, is to not invalidate that term. Because if we get 5% once in a quarter, that averages 5% over those, or it's a loss of profit 2 months and then 5% in 1 month. There's some debate about the original website said an average of 5% a month, not 5% once every 3 months. It's kind of getting into the details there. I don't think that kind of thing is personally helpful or really going to get us anywhere. So yeah, any questions so far? Okay, I'll continue with the doxing. So that proves my YieldNodes account at least, and my relationship to the company. Switch my screen share tactic here. Okay, this is my LinkedIn profile. As I've mentioned more than once, I'm a principal software architect at Microsoft. Have been for just coming up on 5 years. Also, as I had mentioned to some of you, that I have a background in leading teams and community management. You can see that over here. I mentioned that I had done some contracting for the Department of Defense. You can see that under my engineer demolition experience as well. So all the things I've said are accurate. Obviously, my skills in web development are shown by putting up the website and collecting the data. You're more than welcome to go check me out there and ask me any questions that you might have. So that pretty much, I guess, wraps it up for me and who I am. Regarding the intake form, that's another thing that there were some questions about. This is powered by a spreadsheet, which extracts this from a private spreadsheet that I have. That private spreadsheet is the intake result location for this form. I alone have access to that. I registered the YieldNodes legal domain myself and launched the site just a couple of days ago. I do also want to address this because I thought this was quite hilarious. So I will address some of these points about YieldNodes legal being a scam. Obviously, it's not a scam. There were a couple things that were mentioned in here that I do want to cover for folks, though, because I do feel like it is important. First of all, we are never asking for funds. We're not hiding our identities. Obviously, I've shared my identity here. We're not asking for legal fees. I am not a lawyer. I'm not related to any law firm. I wasn't put up to do this by anyone, just my own conscience from being an investor that I believe was wronged legally and morally. We have been contacting several law firms and lawyers. I've not personally made those calls. Michael Frazzi has, and several others. But again, this is not a company and we don't have an operating agreement. There's no charter for people to do this. This is a natural grassroots organization of individuals with common interest. Regarding GDPR, this is a serious thing about keeping your information private and managing it. You do have the ability, if you go into the intake form, which I've filled out as well. If you launch the intake form, you'll see the same data that you submitted the first time. And you can edit that data in the form and it will update it in the sheet that I have. I am making no copies of that sheet. I don't edit that sheet at all. I do pull a summary from that sheet into a separate sheet in order to generate this preview here. So if you're uncomfortable with the data that you've submitted, you can simply launch the form and just delete the fields, and that will and hit the submit button, and that will empty out your row from the spreadsheet. And as a matter of fact, I've seen one person who did that out of the, what do we have now? Just over 200 reports. And some people had updated other data. So if you also believe that you updated something wrong or filled it out wrong, you can go in there and correct it. Regarding this claim, so that, by the way, is how we're being compliant with the GDPR. This claim here about it being quickly created, well, of course it's quick because the incident just happened and I wouldn't want to create it slowly. Quick or slow on a website creation, I don't think makes any sense anyways. And completely anonymous. Of course, it's completely anonymous. There are so many scams and bots out there. When you launch a website, by default, domain providers give you privacy protection so that you don't get spammed. Otherwise, this would post my personal information on the website, and every bot on the web would completely decimate my inbox and potentially be able to find my phone number and things like this. This is just typical 101. If you've ever purchased a domain, you know that this is a normal thing. This is nothing shady like it's trying to be presented here. And then, the bit about who the Discord is run by and whatnot. I don't know who this user is here or who originally created the Discord. That, again, is irrelevant. The point is that there's 500 investors over there that are upset and don't appreciate how things have been handled, and they think that it's illegal and that is certainly immoral, and they want to seek some kind of restitution. This was also the thread actually that got me somewhat triggered, and I got pretty irritated and made some posts in here to this person claiming to be ERS. I did reach out to ERS on the SAP Discord, which is the primary YieldNodes token Discord, and he confirmed that that is his account. So I had a short back and forth with him here on Reddit, and then also over on the SAP Discord where he agreed to the weekly meeting. You can see all the screenshots for that in our Discord. I'm not going to go over it all again, but you can go to the SAP Discord and see our conversation as well. It was about 4 p.m. Pacific time yesterday, and the result of that was creating this banner here and deciding to go live with this video. I'm pretty sure our time's going to run short, but let me stop the share and check that and see if there's any questions. Thanks for the props, Charlie. Says the website is very impressive and thinks I should run YieldNodes. Okay. Does anybody want to ask any questions on audio here, or even video, or in the chat, or feel like there's anything else I should cover? Anything else that you're interested in? What's the timeline for legal? Yes, Yoni, I'm going to mute you. There's some background and echo. John is asking about the timeline for legal action. So that's not up to me personally, but we are planning to take all of these things over vote. And so anytime we do something like the open letter or the website, or decide if we should have the meeting with ERS or not, we create a channel in Discord and everybody puts their thoughts in there. We usually pin a message to the top of the channel, and we collect the dialogue that's happening. And so there's a similar set of links. If you go check the announcements in Discord or the important links section, you'll see next steps that people are taking. There was a poll early on about how people wanted to handle things and what we should do next. There's a similar set of outcomes in the ERS meeting channel. So you can go check that out. And, some people just want their money back. Some people want to go straight for legal action. Some people want principal only. So there's different people want different things. And obviously in the meeting, we'll try to get as many people what they want as possible. I'm in favor of a more distributed option where we come up with a way where each person can get something closer to what they want. And there's some ideas for that as well. We can talk about it later. When is ERS going to meet with you for an interview? I've been DM'd by somebody claiming to be representing ERS that asked for me to set up some time starting on the 24th or later. So that would be 8 days from now, which sounds about right to me. That'd be a good time. I'm just waiting for confirmation from ERS directly that this person is actually acting as a liaison for him. And if that's the case, then I will go ahead and book the time with them. Otherwise, it'll be worked out on the SAP Discord with ERS directly, probably in public. ERS can send me DMs. I don't think ERS takes DMs. Excuse me. And I'm pretty sure we're just about to run out of time on this meeting. Go ahead and drop any other questions in chat, and I'll try to answer them pretty quickly. Otherwise, I would just say, we will certainly do more videos. I have a outline on what the meeting will be about with ERS that I want to cover with the community and make sure that it's representing what folks want. We certainly have more work to do on collecting some more poll data to make sure that it's what folks want. And I do have a lot of optimism. I keep telling folks that I have very high hopes, but very low expectations. I think that's the right way to go into this. We made a ridiculous amount of progress in just a couple of days, getting all the way to meetings with ERS and having over 500 people in the Discord now. And so I have high hope, but again, my expectations are low. What are the essential mandatory fields needed to fill in the form? I only made the country and state required at this time because we wanted to know what areas we would need to get legal assistance and law enforcement assistance. Everything else is optional. You can go back in there if you're more comfortable now that you know who I am, and you can include more data. You can go remove data if you wish to do that, but nothing's currently required. We're discussing ways to verify your YieldNodes account and collect real data if that helps us get to our goal. And that has yet to be determined because we still need a collective goal. I think the best thing is trying to get everybody's capital back at a minimum or some percentage of it. That seems to be the most common thing I see in here. And if that's the case, it would be nice to be able to have a formal, public, written, and signed request and negotiation with YieldNodes that says, you know, I will cease if I get X amount of capital back. And to do that, we would want to be able to verify how much capital is actually in the system and not leave it up to them or up to people who could lie and say they have more capital in there than they do. And there's some ways for us to collect that information. If we create something like a browser extension that people can go to their YieldNodes account with and register with YieldNodes Legal and pull that information directly. I have a personal account with an account that I manage for a family member. What's the best way to report this dual situation form? You need 2 emails. You can only have a single form submission. So submit it under your email and your family member's email. So the form is a Google form, and we didn't want duplicate submissions. So just sign in as them or use a different browser, something like that, and go submit the form a second time. That's the answer to that one. Great. Okay, folks, I don't want the timer to kick us out, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you for bearing with all the technical difficulties for sure. And like I say, we will do more of these. We'll post them on the website. We will get the YouTube live up and schedule some things ahead of time so that folks can join there as well. We'll see you on the Discord. Thanks much.